Have you ever left a conversation and then replayed the entire thing in your head hours later? You remember the exact moment you laughed, the tone of your voice, the pause before someone replied. Did that sound awkward? Should you have said something different? While other people move on easily, your mind keeps analyzing like a quiet investigator. If this feels familiar, you might live with a very high level of self-awareness. Not the kind people casually talk about, but a deeper version. A constant awareness of your own thoughts, emotions, and how you might appear to others. And while that awareness can be insightful, it can also feel exhausting, because being highly self-aware means you're not just living your life. You're also quietly observing yourself while you live it. Most people move through their day on a kind of mental autopilot. They speak, react, laugh, and express emotions without thinking too much about how those actions appear from the outside. But highly self-aware people experience something slightly different. Their mind is not only participating in the moment, it's also watching the moment unfold. There is an internal observer quietly monitoring everything. You notice the subtle shifts in conversations. You become aware of how your words might be interpreted. You sense small emotional signals from other people that many individuals never even register. In psychological terms, this is sometimes connected to something called meta-awareness. It simply means awareness of your own awareness. Your mind doesn't just think, it also notices the fact that it's thinking. This ability can be incredibly powerful. It allows people to reflect deeply, grow emotionally, and understand their own patterns in ways many others cannot. But it also creates a strange internal experience where your mind is almost split into two roles. One part of you is living the moment, and another part is quietly analyzing it. Imagine speaking in a group conversation while a small voice inside your mind comments on everything you say. Was that sentence clear? Did that joke land properly? Did you speak too quickly? Did they misunderstand your intention? That internal observer isn't trying to cause stress. In many ways, it's simply doing what it was trained to do. It's watching, interpreting, and trying to understand the situation more deeply. But when this system becomes very active, even simple social moments can start to feel mentally heavier. A short conversation might turn into 15 minutes of quiet analysis afterward. A single comment from someone might replay in your mind while you examine its possible meanings. This is where self-awareness slowly turns into overanalysis. Not because the person wants to overthink everything, but because their mind naturally notices more details than most people are used to noticing. And when the brain sees more details, it also creates more questions. Many people assume this kind of awareness comes from personality alone, but often it develops from experience. Some individuals grow up in environments where paying attention to emotional signals was important. Maybe they learned early that noticing tone, mood changes, or subtle reactions helped them understand what was happening around them. Over time, the mind becomes very skilled at scanning emotional environments. It begins reading expressions, analyzing words, and reflecting on its own behavior automatically. Eventually, this awareness becomes a permanent mental habit. The brain becomes extremely good at observing both the outside world and the inside world at the same time. But living with that level of awareness can come with quiet emotional costs. Highly self-aware people sometimes hesitate before speaking because they're already thinking about how their words might be received. They might feel socially drained faster because their brain is processing more information during interactions. And sometimes they feel slightly different from others, as if their mind is operating on a deeper analytical layer that many people don't seem to notice. While others simply move through conversations, the self-aware mind is also evaluating the conversation while it happens. It's like trying to act in a play while also sitting in the audience reviewing your own performance. That dual experience can create moments of distance from the present moment itself. Instead of fully living the experience, part of the mind is always studying it. But here's something important that often gets overlooked. The same awareness that creates overanalysis also creates extraordinary emotional intelligence. Highly self-aware individuals often understand emotional patterns deeply. They can reflect on their own behavior, recognize mistakes, and grow from experiences in powerful ways. They notice the small dynamics in relationships. They understand how words affect others. They recognize emotional shifts that many people miss entirely. In many ways, their mind is operating with a level of psychological depth that allows them to see beneath the surface of everyday interactions. This ability can lead to personal growth, empathy, and thoughtful decision-making. But there is also a paradox hiding inside this pattern. Self-awareness itself is not the problem. The challenge appears when awareness quietly turns into self-judgment. Observation and criticism may look similar, but they are very different mental experiences. Observation simply notices what is happening. Judgment evaluates it as good, bad, awkward, or wrong. Many highly self-aware people slowly develop the habit of evaluating themselves constantly. Instead of simply noticing their thoughts or behaviors, they begin grading them. Was that the right thing to say? Was that response intelligent enough? Did I behave the way I should have? When awareness mixes with constant evaluation, the mind can become its own harsh audience. But the awareness itself was never meant to be a punishment. It was meant to be a tool for understanding. And when that shift happens, the entire experience of self-awareness begins to change. Instead of being a constant internal critic, the observing mind can become something gentler, something more curious, a witness rather than a judge. And when awareness becomes curiosity rather than criticism, the mind begins to feel lighter again. Another important truth is that highly self-aware minds often feel different not because something is wrong, but because they process experience at a deeper level. Many people interact with the world primarily through action. They speak, respond, and move forward. But highly self-aware individuals also process experience through reflection. They analyze emotions. They examine motivations. They notice patterns in themselves and others. This reflective depth can make life feel more complex, but it can also make life more meaningful. Because understanding your own inner world is one of the most powerful forms of psychological insight a person can develop. And the ability to look inward, question yourself, and observe your thoughts is actually a rare cognitive skill. It means your mind has developed the capacity to examine itself. So if you recognize yourself in this pattern, it doesn't necessarily mean your mind is doing something wrong. It may simply mean your awareness is stronger than most people realize. Yes, that awareness can sometimes feel heavy. It can create moments of doubt, reflection, and mental replay, but it also allows you to see things others often overlook. It allows you to grow, adapt, and understand your own behavior in ways that many people spend years trying to learn. And perhaps the most important thing to remember is this. Self-awareness is not meant to trap you inside your thoughts. It's meant to help you understand them. Your mind is simply wired to look inward more often than most. And once you understand that, the experience of living with that awareness can begin to feel less like a burden and more like a quiet form of psychological depth. Because a mind that can observe itself is not a flawed mind. It's simply a mind that sees further inward than most people ever think to look.